Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Wiles, and on this week's informative speech, I'm going to be talking about cyberbullying. What is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying, in a simplified manner, is you being bullied online. There are a lot of signs to bullying or how you can detect bullying, and with that long list, I wrote down 5. The first one I wrote down is harassing. Harassing is basically just somebody picking on you and they just won't leave you alone. The second and third one I wrote down is exclusivity and outing. These two are kind of polar opposites in a sense. Exclusivity is somebody really not wanting to include you, and like if you get invited to a party and you don't want somebody to go, it's basically you just being like, hey, can you just not go, or just not inviting somebody to something that you are doing. And then with outing, it's somebody being like, hey, her this, her that, she this, and everything, and they're just pointing them out. And it can be over small things like, oh, well, she doesn't make her bed in the morning, and stuff like that. And the fourth one I wrote down is cyber stalking. Cyber stalking is where somebody is stalking you online, and this can be with them just being like, oh, look at this post, and not really commenting anything online. Or it can be them commenting online, like them commenting on a post that you made or anything like that. The last one I wrote down is impersonating. Impersonating can kind of always be overlooked because a lot of us do it as a joke, but a lot of people do it in a mimicking way where they're just really making fun of somebody. And impersonating somebody online happens a lot of the time. And I feel like we don't really notice it that much, but it's basically just where you're mimicking somebody and you're just being rude about it and you're just making fun of them. And all these ways can not only go with cyberbullying, but just straight up bullying, like in person. There's a lot of long-lasting effects to bullying too. It can cause so many things with your life and how you feel, and with the long list of those, I wrote down 4. The first one I wrote down is emotional and psychological effects. Depending on how sensitive you are as a person, it can really take a toll on you being bullied in any manner. And I know for me, I'm super sensitive, so it can really just take a huge toll on you, because even if you're not super sensitive, it still could, because it's really just not a good feeling to have somebody bullying you, because it can make you feel self-conscious, and it can raise up your anxiety and make you feel depressed and make you just not have very good thoughts about yourself because you feel like everybody else is doing it too. The second one I wrote down is academic consequences. When you're so focused on somebody bullying you, it can kind of take your focus away from important things like your academics, your schoolwork, and it can kind of just take all your focus to one thing instead of everything else that's over here. The third one I have down is social withdrawals. When you get bullied online, it can make you not want to go online or get on that app that you're getting bullied on. Like if you're getting bullied on Facebook, it can make you just not really want to be on any big social media like that, and it can kind of make you want to be self-reserved. And it's the same thing with outings. It can make you not want to be social with anybody out anymore. You don't want to go to school anymore. You don't want to hang out with your friends that you used to hang out with because you feel like everybody's kind of attacking you, even if they haven't said anything to you. And lastly, I wrote down for effects was physical health. It can kind of take a huge toll on you physically wise. It can kind of, depending on how stressed out you are, it can kind of be psychological in a sense, but you can start getting headaches, your stomach can start hurting, and it can just cause a lot of problems and have long-lasting effects on you. But lastly, the most important part is ways to prevent cyberbullying. All these can go with any types of bullying. I'm just talking about cyberbullying. There are so many ways to prevent bullying, but I wrote down 4. The first one I wrote down is educational awareness. In schools, they do talk about cyberbullying and bullying in general, and I feel like in my school at least, they're just like, hey, like it's an obvious thing, like obviously don't bully somebody. But I feel like we don't take it to the extent that we need to. I feel like we need to talk about it more. And like if somebody is doing it, I feel like they should be called out on it. and there should be some action taken, but I feel like there isn't most of the time. And I can kind of go into the rest of my reasons. My second one is support systems. I feel like it's so good to have a support system for people that do get bullied, so that way they can have somebody to confide into, and it can make them feel supported and make them feel like they're not alone. The third one I have is reporting. This kind of goes hand in hand, and it can just make you feel like you can talk about it. If you know that other people are reporting their problems, it can make you feel like you want to talk about it, because, I mean, if I was getting bullied, I probably wouldn't want to tell anybody, because it would just be so hard on me. I mean, like, it kind of makes you feel very downgraded. It makes you feel very vulnerable. And a lot of people just don't want to feel like that. So just knowing that you have somebody to report to and having that support is just so good. And lastly is parental involvement. I know as a 16-year-old teenage girl, you don't ever really want your parents involved in anything social you do, but I feel like it's super important for parents to get involved in their kids' social lives online, because there is a lot of cyberbullying going around because of all the people nowadays. And I feel like it's just very important for parents to know what their kids are doing online and how people are talking to them. So I hope that this speech really did persuade you and inform you about cyberbullying. And I hope that you learned more about this cyberbullying today. Thank you.